Chapter 18, The Kingdom of Wishes. "Get up," said Magnifico, shaking Asha and Raphael. "What is it?" said Asha. "Look." Magnifico pointed to the valley. There, flying over the village, was the dragon at last. He was covered with a thick coat of dark green and white mail. His wings were like a bat's with claws on the ends, and his tail swerved back and forth in a long, loathsome coil with two barbed stingers at the end. The madman's wish had been fulfilled only a little while ago, when the glowing orb came in contact with him, and he was already trying out his prowess as a bringer of terror. He had already set 5 houses alight. I was scooping people and horses up in his paws and soaring to great heights before releasing them, just to watch them splatter on the ground. "Go," said Magnifico. "Make for a river. That is the safest place." "No," said Asha. "I will stay with you to the death." Magnifico saw the determination in Asha's eyes and realized there was no use arguing. He hoisted her onto the back of his horse and plunged down the valley like a bullet towards its target. It was a sickening sight. Trees, barns, and homes engulfed in flames. People screaming and running helter-skelter, and the gruesome remains of victims that had been dropped from above. Raphael and Magnifico put the visors of their helmets down, drew their staff and sword, and raised their shields with the emblem of a golden sun. The smoke stung their eyes, and a foul reek hit their nostrils as they drew closer. The dragon had just finished lighting the last house and was about to fly away as the thrill of destruction had run its course when he heard the pounding of hoofs. He turned his huge, loathsome head and raised himself to his full height at the intruders. He fanned his claws and belched forth a thick, curling stream of fire. Magnifico waved his staff, causing a crystal globe to surround him and his horse, which sent the flames shooting backwards. Whoosh! The dragon pounced at the wizard, but only raked his claws against the protective globe. Magnifico sent a stream of white light, radiant as the sun, straight into the dragon's face. The dragon shrieked and stepped backwards, shielding his eyes. The Wizard King did not desist until his foe spread his horrible bat-like wings and flew away. The sound of crying reached Asha's ears. It was coming from one of the houses the dragon had lit. Because it had caught fire only a few minutes ago, the flames had not yet spread over the entire house. Asha hesitated for one awful moment, then set her teeth and dove into the building. The smoke stung her eyes, forcing her to leave so she could breathe the fresh air again. She glanced around and saw a barrel full of water on the front porch. She grabbed a piece of wash that was still hanging up, soaked it, put it over her head, and went back inside. She followed the cries through the kitchen into the bedroom, where she saw 2 little girls screaming at the burnt pieces of hay that were falling from the ceiling. In the bed was a woman sleeping, stupefied by the smoke, deaf to her daughter's cries. Asha opened a window, seized the girls one by one, and tossed them out. Then she slapped and shook the woman, screaming, "Wake up! You must wake up!" The woman moaned and opened her eyes, but was still unconscious. Asha took hold of her and pushed her out of the bed with all her might. She was rather large and heavy, but it did not matter. Asha managed to make her stand up, propping her on her shoulders and moving her towards the bedroom door. Suddenly she heard and felt the sound of water cascading from a rooftop, and what a blessed sound it was. The 2 women dragged their way through the kitchen to the front door. Magnifico was standing before them, causing a small rainstorm over the house. He went to all the others, one by one, and did the same. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The survivors gathered around Magnifico with words of gratitude. Many shed tears. Some even dared to kneel. He bent down and healed all who had suffered burns with a touch of his hands. The woman Asha saved regained consciousness at last. What is your name, child? Asha. Asha. I don't know what to say. She broke down in tears. Asha embraced her and the two little girls. Bury the dead, said the king. When the dragon is destroyed, I will send food and lumber to restore your village. Where do you think he went, said Raphael. To the capital. That is the way of dragons. Destroy a city and take the treasure. If we're lucky, we can be there before nightfall. We'll reach it faster if we fly, said Raphael. Allow me. Raphael sprinkled his stardust over Magnifico, Asha, and the two horses, causing them to float above the grass. The horses reared and kicked, for something was moving inside of them like bubbles in a pot of water. It poked through their shoulders and grew until it became a pair of large feathered wings that matched their coats like Pegasus. As they mounted the newly winged horses, Magnifico looked at Asha. Asha, you did a very brave thing. I want you to know that. In my heart, I honor you. Riding on horses through the sky was one of the most wonderful things Asha had ever known. Their wings were soft and feathery, but as strong and magnificent as an eagle's. While she was still terrified at the prospect of meeting the dragon again, she felt as brave as a lion. Is there a way you could blast the fire through the dragon's scales? She asked. Unfortunately not, said the king. I have tried to uncover the secret, but it is not within the realm of wizards. There are limits to what magic can achieve. When we meet again, we must go for the head and the armpits. That is where their armor is weak.